Hi everybody, it's Stephen Brooke and welcome to my YouTube channel on architectural photography and composition. If you're enjoying these videos, please give them a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this. Also, check out StephenBrookePhotography.com to see my book on architectural photography and composition. 360 pages, art history, workflows, examples. I think you're going to find something on every page that's going to really help you with your work. What I want to talk about today are drones. Now, this is something that real estate photographers have been using, but architectural photographers per se, many haven't used this. And so I'd like to discuss why I have found this to be an invaluable tool in my work. Now, there are elevated viewpoints in classical view painting and engraving. You look at somebody like Piranesi, his eye height for his engravings, rarely, if ever, are they at the ground. Here, at ground level, you wouldn't see the roof of this building quite like this. So his viewpoint, he's imagining his viewpoint, of course, is up pretty high. And this is virtually an aerial view. He's imagined what this would look like if his eye height were way up there. Same thing with the view of the Trevi Fountain, and same thing for most of his views. Even Venetian view painters like Canaletto, Carlavaris, Bellotto, all had slightly elevated views. And if you scale them out, it's not that they're doing aerial views, but they're up what would be the equivalent of maybe a 2-story window or a 3-story window looking at your project. Now, so what are our options for elevated views? One, use a ladder or a cherry picker. I'm not going to carry a ladder with me. Usually it's not going to be high enough to do what I need it to do. And I don't know if you've ever photographed in a cherry picker, but those things are not particularly stable. And usually have some guy driving it who really doesn't care that much about whether you get a good photo or not. So that's not really convenient. You can hire a helicopter. The problem with a helicopter is it's still somewhat shaky, and you can't do layered exposures. It's really difficult to control, and some of the areas you need to shoot are lower than a helicopter is allowed to fly. You can find a 2nd or 3rd story window from which to shoot out of the window of a parking garage. That works, and I've done that, but that's not always possible. It's not always convenient. You can, for views of a house across the water, you can find, try to get a boat. If it's the owner, that's good. If not, if you have to hire a boat, you've got to get a captain that's going to want to work with you as you try to fine-tune a shot. I have found these guys to not be particularly helpful. So what's the alternative? A drone. Now, here's the job that convinced me that I needed one of these. This is from my client Richard Skinner up in near Jacksonville. Here's the elevation of the house. Here's this little bit of grass, and here's the fall off. No chance to get far enough back to show the whole elevation on axis, which is what I like to do. So here were my options. I'm back here on the beach. You can see this is not really good. I like to always show where the base of the house hits the ground plane. When you don't get a real sense of scale. So if you're shooting and you go down a hill, as soon as that hill starts to block out the base of the building, you've gone too far. So this is what I was able to do. This shot from the side, this isn't good again because I can't see the base of the building hitting the ground plane. So this is really the best that I could do with this shot. Now, in a similar, and I went and bought a drone. So this is a similar kind of situation. Now I can show the water, the sand, the landscape, such as it is here, and the house in full elevation. This is a shot I couldn't do any other way. Same thing here. So Rafael Portuondo, architect. I can show the whole of this house. Again, there's not enough room here to take a nice full elevation And certainly I can't show the water and show the siding, show how close it is to Biscayne Bay. But with a drone, I have a shot that shows part of the landscape plan, the whole of the house, and the siding. Same thing here. There's a line of trees, they're right here, which really prevented me from getting the kind of axial view on this main elevation that I wanted. So with a drone, I can get up high above these trees. Here are the trees. I can get up above the tree and show the whole house on axis. And then here, I can show the landscape plan and the siding. Again, these are not shots I can do from ground level. Here's the front elevation of the house. I'm standing here. As if I get further back, these trees just start blocking out the whole house. It makes it's not useful. But with an elevated view from the drone, I can see the whole of the house and also show the siding. Courtyard view. Remember that if you have landscape architects as your clients, landscape architects design in plan. Even though you, as you're walking through the garden, you're not going to experience the landscape in plan, they still like to get views of their garden the way they designed it. And the only way to do that is with a drone looking straight down, and that's what I've done here. You can see the whole landscape treatment. You can hear these trees that got in my way. You can see the roof structure, courtyard, really handy. Same thing here. There's a little courtyard area between these two buildings in this U-shaped school. Impossible to show this any other way, including showing its relationship to the water and to the bridge in Jacksonville. Courtyard and pool design. Again, this is designed in plan, and you can show it in plan. Same thing here. Now you can see how the pool and the house relate to the water. Really, really valuable technique. Now, this is if you can look at the siding on this, this is really difficult. The landscape is really grown in. We photographed this a couple of years after the house was finished. There's no way to show the siding, and why that was particularly important, the way that Richard Skinner, the architect on this job, cited this project, because this was a wicked little site here. Very difficult to shoehorn this house, and he did it beautifully, and the drone shot shows how he did that. Now, here's something that I use this drone for. Again, like I said, I started out to get one of these to be able to do these views from the water looking back. But what I realized right away, this was helping me get shots to show a better proportion of the roof line than I could ever get right at ground level. So here's a ground level shot, and you can just see the tip of the roof line here, but this drone is right up about, maybe 1.5, 1 3/4 stories high. And now look, you can really see how the roof proportion is. Totally, there's no distortion or anything. And all I'm doing is I'm taking my drone, shooting on axis, nothing changes. Now, again, here's one showing the courtyard, showing the siding. And by the way, all the rules for composition I hold. If my drone makes the verticals out of alignment, I realign them in Photoshop. Same thing, ground level shot. I can't really see the roof structure, but here with an elevated view, I can see how the roof line really works. High rises are particularly difficult. From ground level, if you can't get back far enough, this is an uncorrected image. You get, with a wide angle lens, you get this kind of prowling. Why? Because that part of the building is right at the extreme of the curve of the lens, and so it tends to give you this prowling, of this boat effect, and also an exaggerated perspective that you have to crunch back down in Photoshop. But here, this is a high-rise building. There really was no way I could do this at ground level. There are buildings behind me, but very nicely proportioned view with the drone. Same thing here, same building. This is another one to get a view of where this building sits on the water. And again, when I use my drone to shoot these buildings, because the roof typically the roofs look like hell. And I don't get any higher than I have to because I don't want to see the junk on the roof. So that's usually my stopping point. Here, for example, ground floor. But what I'm missing is what was really important to the architect here, and that is these solar panels on the roof. So I've gone up just high enough to be able to see how these solar panels work. Here's a view from the side showing the volumetrics of this building, and again, just seeing these solar panels peeking out. Again, landscape architects design and plan. You don't always have to go up high and shoot straight down, but for this pathway, it was important for me to get up above these trees so I can see how this pathway snakes around. Same thing here. At ground level, I don't really get a sense of how this pathway works. Same thing here. Down here at ground level, I don't see how all of these layers work. Here's the foliage, here's the walkway, here's the beach, here's the coping, here's the swimming pool, here's the other side, and here's the building itself. But drone gives me all of these elements in one shot. So this will change, and drones change constantly. The reason I didn't get one before was they were huge. They were in a suitcase, and that's more than I wanted to carry. And I was then told, well, there's a smaller drone now that packs up like a little football, and that's what I use. Here's some things to consider. One, make sure the sensor has at least a 12 to 15 megapixel sensor, because you're going to be using these along with your powerhouse cameras, and they can't look like they were taken with a $25 camera. They have to be publishable quality. And 12 to 15 megapixels is the least you should have. Make sure the batteries last at least 20 to 25 minutes, and with an auto home when the batteries go low. If the batteries start going low and you're not paying attention, this thing will automatically come back to where it started, and so you don't crash it. Manual control of shutter speed. This is really very important. You don't want one of these with all automatic controls. You want to be able to control the shutter speed. Accessories, definitely extra batteries and definitely extra props. You'll break them on occasion. Very important, ability to shoot raw files, because you're going to have to manipulate these in camera raw when you get them back. There's no way you can get as much control with a drone as you can with your regular camera. So you're going to have to fuss with these, and it's better to do it with raw files. Make sure you get a lightweight one. And also, all the rules for correct architectural photography and composition, those all still apply. Make sure you adhere to all those rules we've been talking about. You can find them in my book at StephenBrookePhotography.com, Architectural Photography and Composition. There's so much in there. Remember, if you like these videos, give them a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and want to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing you again soon.